This is Factorio, and these are all the things in the game. They're actually pretty cool to look at. But the problem with Factorio is that by the time you're 50 hours in 3 days, you're probably playing zoomed all the way out and your mind has completely merged with the machine. The factory must grow. So I decided to do the insane thing, and zoom in, so that we can see just how beautiful some of Factorio's sprites are. Before that though, I was trying to get to 4K subs this year, but we smashed that out of the park, thanks to all you cool people. So, as a token of my thanks, here is 12 of my currency. Don't spend it all in one place. Like and sub. Factorio's sprites are really pretty, but they didn't always look like this. If you look at some of the early iterations of the game, like really early, it started out looking like this. The first versions that are recognizable still look alien and outdated. All except for the assembler. That looks like it's been the same forever. One of my favorite parts about the sprites is that you can accurately predict how early on in the game you unlock them, just based on their appearance. It reflects the logical progression of the engineer developing and discovering new building methods and materials. So when you start the game, you're pretty mentally challenged, and all you can cobble together is some basic machinery. This is best exemplified by things like the burner drill, the steam engine, and even the gun turret. If you zoom in on them and pick them apart visually, you can literally see how each one rudimentarily functions. The burner drill is a crude metal frame holding up a series of gears that operates this rod, which is connected to the drill that mines your ore. The steam engine is just some rusty tanks that drive this mechanism that then spins a small turbine to generate electricity. The gun turret is my favorite though. The Gatling gun here operates on a simple rotating gear, and it's got a little camera strapped to the top so it can tell friend from bug. Also, notice the distinct lack of rubber or plastic components. Everything is strictly metal because we haven't unlocked oil refinement yet. As you ramp up to the next tier, through green and blue science, you can see all the sprites have a little more polish, but are still pretty basic. The accumulators can be broken up into a metal frame that houses 4 actual batteries. What are those, like single A's? And then all the wiring that connects them together and to the grid. The zappiness is for effect. If you've ever stopped to look at the laser turret, you would have noticed just how basic it is. I talk about it in my Factorio as art video, but it's literally just a frame that holds up the apparatus that shoots the laser. A kettle plug cord at the back powers it and a little sensor aims it. Even the nuclear reactor looks like it was welded together, with big rubber tubes doing God knows what. No surprise, but I'm not a nucologist, so I don't know what all the bits do. But the big thing is probably housing the nuclear reaction, if I had to guess. The glowing green lights gives it away. When they were coming up with the design for the bots, they produced this piece of, well, quite frankly, it's art. There's so much cool stuff to pick apart here. The sprites are so intelligently designed because the things you use throughout a playthrough, like trains or power poles, are a little bit more tidy, so that you're not still using crummy cobbled together tech to run your spacefaring megafactory. I couldn't find any other place in the video to put this, but I had to mention that the sprites are made in 3D first, in Blender, then animated and then exported as still frames, which gives them a depth of field look without actually being 3D. Making everything 2D is really stylistic and is also really resource efficient. Otherwise your megafactory would fry your CPU. A lot of the sprites are designed very practically with almost no concern for safety or aesthetics, which makes so much sense. If you've ever seen early prototypes of consumer appliances, they look really technological and messy, because they're missing a plastic casing or final touches that would stop Timmy from sticking his fingers in there. But by stripping down anything to its bare essentials like that, you get this super techy industrial look that Factorio has nailed. It's ugly, but the kind of cool ugly of a mega excavator or the inside of an assembly plant. The sprites look good on an individual level, but also as a tileable component for your factory. This isn't an engine factory, it's just one part of the engine factory. Also, is it just me, or does the map make your factory look like a circuit? The vehicles are also funny to take apart. The car looks like it's taken straight out of Mad Max, and the tank is just a cannon strapped to a bulldozer. I did a great video on that too, if you want to see the concept out a bit more. The rocket turret and some legs equals the Spidertron. The funny thing is, the Spidertron was designed first, so they actually back-designed the rocket turret when the Space Age DLC came out. Speaking about Space Age, the DLC gave the devs a whole new canvas, and they really ran with it. Through the wiki, it's hard to tell if they got a new design team, but they definitely ramped things up with the new sprites. Starting with the space platform, it has an aesthetic of its own. It reminds me of the surface of the spaceships in Star Wars, with tons of doodads and bits. even large pieces of tech hanging off the bottom that serve some function or other. In the biz, they call those greebles. We've now fully moved away from the early low-tech and we're in the realm of industrial sci-fi. As a trend, the space-related sprites all have this super busy style. I suspect they ran with the advanced and complex style of the space rocket from the base game and made all the space platform-related stuff the same. Each of the individual planets also unlocks some great tech and gorgeous sprites to go along with them. I'm going to be talking about a ton of them because they really are the best sprites in the game. The Foundry's animation is just mwah. Visibly, you can tell exactly how this piece of machinery works. Ore is visibly tossed in at the top, melted down and then poured into these crucibles, just like on Geonosis. Then the metal is molded here and finally stamped or cut at the end. This design just makes me want to build a droid army. The recycler from Fulgora is such a fun design too, with scrap going in on one side and then being sorted and melted down in this mini furnace. The electromagnetic plant looks like it belongs in an actual factory that makes electric engines, with the way it coils copper wire in real time. Moving over to Gleba, the biochamber deserves some credit too, even though I hate Gleba. It's got this awesome liquid tank that actually changes color based on what is being produced. And it's got this cool open air spinning thing to boot. Apparently those are called rotating biological contractors. Someone who is good with poop processing can correct me there if I'm wrong. The agricultural tower shouldn't be overlooked either. It has some really intelligent design. It's just a crane, but a lot of love and attention went into making it look really organic, with these root-like pipes at the base. And its very messy retractable arm. It's even got a counterweight, because I guess seeds are heavy. You probably also never noticed this little greenhouse lab at the bottom that does something. Aquila has the cryogenic plant, which is cool. It's got some cool liquid sprites and lots of bits and pieces that do stuff. But overall, I think the other planets have more interesting designs. I guess they were too busy redoing literally every other sprite for their frozen versions. The fusion reactor sprite is just plain insane. In terms of the sprite work, this thing is one of a kind. It's got this Cold War futurist look that no other sprite has. And take note, despite being more advanced than the tech we have today, it still looks outdated. Because the engineer built it. There are a lot of great sprites in Factorio, but there's also some bad ones. The assembler looks the way it does for a reason, but man, I think it's boring. It's one of the most used structures, so it has to be a bit more basic. The same is true for the belts and the inserters. It only really changes in color and has a few extra roof mechanisms as it improves. Maybe because it's a universal assembler that can make literally anything, they wanted it to be super generic. But I mean, look at it. It's just a block. Apparently we have Notch to thank for that because the design comes from the Minecraft automated crafting table. Wild. The Tesla turret is also a real missed opportunity. Like, it looks interesting and it has some cool electric effects, but when it shoots all it does is rotate this little ball head. Its early concept art has some really cool designs that I think would have been better. Hell, I mean, the Tesla turret from Red Alert is cooler. But I forgive the devs because they gave us these two amazing sprites. The rocket launch and the thrusters on the space platforms. The rocket launch was originally the final thing you did in the base game, so they spent a lot of time making it look kick-ass. The build-up, the lighting as the rocket starts, the decoupling, the gradual ascent that speeds up, revealing this massive body that was all underground. Ah, it's so cool. It also lights up the whole chamber beneath it, revealing just how deep the silo is. But there is one sprite that I think trumps even this piece of art. The thruster exemplifies all the best parts of what I've mentioned in the other sprites. It is a stripped down piece of space-age tech that combines oxidizer and fuel to create this beautiful plume of fire. There is this skeletal structure of pipes, wires and frames that houses a mechanical and fiery heart. If you look closely, you can even see what appears to be fuel being mixed and pumped. And if you follow the pipes, they lead to the liquid inputs and outputs. The two rotors here and here are just the icing on top. And the whole thing vibrates and shakes. Again, highlighting that this wasn't designed by a team of scientists at NASA, but just one guy with his undying lust for expanding the factory. It must grow. All he has are springs to keep it in place, so that's what he uses. Put that shit in a museum. Factorio is a beautiful game, gameplay-wise and graphically. The fact that these sprites are so well made, when, in all reality, they don't need to be, shouts just how much love and attention went into making them. So thank you to all these living legends. And this one dinosaur. You've made one hell of a pretty game. Thanks for watching.